Hey everybody, welcome to RPM, Rock and Pop Mandolin, your site for learning classic rock and pop songs on this wonderful little 8-stringed instrument. My name is Mike DeJong, and we are looking at yet another great Beatles song, another George Harrison classic for you here on RPM. Again, one of my favorite songs from my favorite Beatle, George Harrison. This one is it's a classic because it's got a beautiful little melody line, well, several beautiful little melody lines that you can play on the mandolin, and also some cool chords, some very jazzy chords that you can also play. So it's a really wonderful song to learn, and I'm going to show you all of the parts here in this tutorial, even a version of the George Harrison guitar solo that you can play on the mandolin. Yep, you can play his guitar solo. Well, you can get it pretty close without, I guess, a lot of the bending. But certainly you can get the notes right, and you can get something that you can play on the mandolin that sounds really good. So I'll show you all of that stuff in this tutorial coming up here on RPM. But first, a little bit of business. If you're new to the channel, thanks very much for checking us out. We really appreciate your support and your patronage here. But don't forget to hit that little red subscriber button on the way out, and maybe leave us a like if you like this video. You can also leave us a like if you are a returning subscriber. Thanks for coming back once again. We really appreciate you sticking around and checking out all of our videos and all of your support. Thank you very much. But you might also check out our Patreon link down below. We've got some exciting things happening over on Patreon, including monthly live mandolin jam sessions on Zoom. So check that out. There's also an Amazon link down below in the comments. Check it out. But now, without further ado, let's take a look at this Beatles George Harrison classic called Something here on RPM. Okay, Something is in the key of C, and it starts with a really cool little chord progression and a cool little melody lick on the guitar. I think George Harrison did it with a slide. I think it was slide guitar, but we can sort of replicate that on the mandolin. Not exactly the same, but we can get it close. So that opening lick goes... All right, so what is that? Well, I'm starting with an F chord. The song is actually in the key of C, but if you start with an F chord, you can get that little lick. All right, so what is that? Well, there's your F chord here, 5th fret of the G string, 3rd fret of the D, open A, and 1st fret of the E, right? Your standard F chord. So I start off like this with a little count in 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can play that little lick either with chords or chord fragments, or you can just play a single note line there. That little lick is all played on the A string, okay? And I'll show you it slowly right here. Okay, so from the F, you're letting that A string ring out open here. You see that? Like that. So you're just kind of sliding off that C note there, which is the 3rd fret of the A string. So, right? And George Harrison actually bends the note on the guitar, but we're not going to bend it here on the mandolin. We're going to slide it, okay? So, like that. Okay, so you're sliding it from 3 to 2, like this. Okay? Open A, 3, 2. And 3 to 2 is a slide here. So back to the open A. And then you're going 1, 2, 3. All right, so one more time slowly. Okay, you could probably end that lick with a C chord as well if you like. Okay, so I'll show you that. So... right there. So just pick up another note there and make it a C chord. So you got the 3rd fret here, the C note, and then the 2nd fret of the D string to end that lick with a chord. One more time. Okay, and that is the lick that's played throughout the song, at least a couple of times. Now let's go to the main chord progression for the song. So after this, it's into the song. Something, the way she moves, right? Sorry, I can't sing it, but... Okay, so I'll show you the up to that part first. All right, so after the you're on a C chord. Something in the way she moves. All right, that's a C major 7 chord now. So all you're doing is you're taking this chord here and you're moving, or you're taking that finger off and you're now barring it at both of the second frets here. So second fret of the D, second fret of the A. You hear that chord there? That's a C major 7 chord. You can also do it with this finger down here on the C note. Okay, so you can do it, and actually you can start off with that something in the way she moved, right? You can do that little chord progression as well. That's really cool. Something in the way she moves, like that, okay? And I'm just doing straight up and down strumming, maybe a couple of down strokes at first. So down, down, up and down, and then to this chord, C major 7. And then your next chord is a C7. Okay, so basically you're just moving that note down in chords now. Okay, so something in the way she moves, right? To the C major 7. Now you just take that note and move it to the first fret. Okay, and that's a C7 chord now, not a C major 7, it's a C7, or dominant 7, I guess you could call it, right? So, something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Okay, so from there, you're going C, C major 7, C7, and now to that F chord again. Okay, so I'll show you something the way she moves, right? Then C7, attracts me like no other lover. Okay, so there you are now on the F chord again. So C, C major 7, C dominant 7, and then F. Okay, and stay on that F chord. If you want, you can do a couple of those little pickup notes. So, what are those pickup notes? Well, it's this note here that's part of your F chord. So I'm just going from the note here at the 5th fret of the G string to the 3rd fret of the D string, 2nd fret, like that. So just those 2 notes. But, okay, so you see that? And then you're going to a D chord, and then a D7. Okay, so what's that? Well, that's just your standard D chord. A 2nd fret here, 2nd fret on the E string, and these ones open. And then I'm pulling in my little finger there, the pinky finger, at the 3rd fret of the A, that note. Okay, so that's going to create a D7 chord. Okay, so once again, the lick, the entire passage is something in the way she moves, right? C to C major 7, attracts me like no other, to the F chord, right? And then now to the D, and then a D7, then you're on a G. And I pull up those 2 little notes there on the G chord, right? So after the D to the D7, then you're on a G. Okay, so hit that G chord and let it ring out, and then you can play those 2 notes over that ringing D string there. So what are those 2 notes? Well, it's the 2nd fret of the G string and the 4th fret of the G string. Okay, so one more time. And that's the chord progression for the verses in this song. Okay, so after we do now we're doing a little A minor descending progression, which is really cool as well. So, all right, so that's really neat. So that's an A minor chord here. And the only note that's moving on this progression or the only fingers that are moving are on the G string now. You're keeping these 2 strings kind of locked in place as part of that A chord, all right? So what I've done there is I'm playing the A minor, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and then I'm moving this finger down to the 1st fret, and I'm pulling the 2nd finger into there. Okay, so that's an A minor 7, I think that's what that is. Okay, so you're going A minor chord, okay, moving that, just basically this note to there, okay, on the G string. So and then taking it off, keeping those two strings in place, those two fingers in place again. So one more time, it's A minor, first fret, open, and D. All right, and that's the end of the verse. Going back into this. Okay, so it comes out of this. F. And then back into that little lick again. Okay, so we've done an A minor part. Now George Harrison throws us a curveball, switching it to an A major pattern and changing the key of the song, actually, from C to A at this point. From the second time he goes, he slides up one note. Instead of going back to the C, he goes to a C sharp, which is the 4th fret on your A string. So let's do that again. You can slide it from there, like that, or you can just pick the note open again. So, okay, so you just first, second, 4th this time, okay? And what that note is, it's part of an A major chord, right? You should know this chord by now, an A major chord, 2nd fret of the G string, 2nd fret of the D, and now you're not on a minor anymore, you're at the 4th fret of the A, which is an A major chord, right? Don't worry about the top E string there, don't worry about that. Just 3 notes is all you need, 3 strings. Okay, so one more time. Right? And then you can pick up that A chord. Now we're into this B section where they do a similar walk down pattern from before that we saw in the A minor, but this time there's a few there's a few more curveballs here. I guess George must have been a good pitcher at one time, baseball pitcher. So we've gone from here. Okay, now we're on that A chord, right? A major. So now we're going to do okay, so that's a little different from before. You're still walking down a little bit here on the G string, but there's a couple of different chords here that I'm going to show you, okay? So from here, and again, you're still using that sort of staccato pattern there with your picking, maybe all downstrokes at this point once again. So, okay, so from there, that's your A chord, like I showed you, 2nd, 2nd, and 4th. Then again, you're moving your index finger down to the 1st fret, but keeping this one in place and this one in place here. And I've pulled in my pinky here now, so you see that? It's just one note moving, and that becomes an A major 7 now, not a minor 7, okay? And then that's an F sharp minor 7 now. Okay, it's an F sharp minor 7 now. Okay, so you're going. Okay, so from that A to the A major 7, 1st fret here on the G string, then you're jumping up to that F sharp minor. Okay, F sharp minor chord there, which is at the 6th fret, 4th fret, open A, and 2nd fret now on the E string. So, and then you're going to an E chord, right? I'm just doing a standard E down here. 1st fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, okay? And open. So once again, A major 7, F sharp minor, E, then a D, then a G. Okay, so one more time. A major 7, F sharp minor, E, now a D, G. Right, you know that pattern, right? So D, G, then you're going to do this little pattern over an A chord. So it's, what is that? Well, that's just a chromatic pattern, meaning every fret, you're going to walk down every fret from here, which is the 7th fret of your D string. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, open, right? So into an A chord again. All right, so one more time, I'll show you that whole pattern. Okay, and you finish off by ending on an A chord again, and then you do the pattern again. Okay, so what's that? Well, instead of that A chromatic pattern the second time, they do something on a C, right? So it's actually they do something on an A minor is what it is. And then they end on the C chord like that. So instead of that chromatic walk down, the second time you're going to the 5th fret here on the G string this time, okay? So 5th, 4th, 2nd, open, 2nd, 4th, 5th again. So, and then that last one, you want to end on that C chord again. All right, so one more time, that whole pattern goes. See what I did there on that little pattern? And now you're ready for the guitar solo. Okay, so George Harrison's guitar solo in this song is really wonderful. It's really melodic, and it's played over the chord patterns from the beginning of the song. Okay, so all of those chords that I showed you from the first verse, or from the verses, that's what he plays over with this guitar solo. So the guitar solo is really cool. It goes from a C Okay, that's the first part of it. I'll show you the first part of it. So after you do the... All right, you're on that C chord now, and then you want to go... So that's open D, 2nd fret, 5th fret, and end up on that 2nd fret again, all right? And you might want to, if you could put a little bit of tremolo on there, like that, a little bit of shaking sound there, that's the tremolo effect, okay? So... Right? Okay, so now the next part is tricky. You got to go. All right, so you got to jump way up. All right, so you're going. So again, open, 2nd, and then quickly catch the 5th to the 7th quickly. It's really quick and really tricky, but you can get it. You see how I did that there? So I went. So open 2, 5, 7, quickly, 5, 2. You see there? Okay, so again, the solo. Okay. Okay, so what does he do there? The second part. So he's going open to 2 again, and then there, 5th, 7th, 5th. You see what I did there? So, all right, so one, open 2, 5, 7, 5, and then 7 to 3 on the next string. So, you see that? So the solo from the start again. Okay, that's where we are now. That's 7. Couple of staccato notes on that 3rd fret of the A string. Then you jump up to the 5th and the 7th there, okay? So you see what I did there? So you're basically using the 5-7 on both of these strings. All right, so from here, so 7, 5, 3, 7. Okay, so Okay, so what do we have so far for the solo? We got... Okay, that's really the toughest part, I guess. Okay, so from there we have this pattern. Okay, that's a little tricky as well, though, and it goes, you're kind of sliding, you're sliding from the 7th or from the 5th. So 5, 7, and then 3, and then 7. That's a tricky part there. That's from the 2 to the 5, 2 to 2, okay? You see what I did there? And these two notes are all in the A chord. You see, I'm catching them with one finger here. So, like that, okay? So, one more time, what we have so far in the solo is... Okay, so we're now on this A chord here, this A voicing, all right? Then, okay, so we're on the A chord. So we're going. So we're going on the A, and you're using that 4th fret there. So like that. Then we're jumping up to the 4th fret here on the D string. So, okay, so. Then we're jumping up to the 2nd fret of the A string. Okay, so. And a little bit of a pause there, so. And there you're going, which is 2nd open to the 5th fret here. All right, so. All right. And those are a couple of cool little licks that come after that. So after you go, what are those notes? Well, that's 3, 2, open. All right, and then 7, 6, 5 here. So one more time. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and 7, 6, 5. Finally, you're onto this little pattern here. Okay, so what are we doing there? Well, it's kind of a little bit different from the guitar. On the guitar, I think George is just sort of bending a note there, but here you got to kind of hammer on it. You got to... So that's the 1st fret to the open on the D string. And then to the 5th here, the C note, all right? You do that a couple times. And I'm just pulling off of there, okay? And then from there, a really tricky little riff that takes you to the top of the pattern here. So really quick, really tricky, but if you work on it, you know, if you have to slow down this video to get that part, do it, because you can slow down this video here on YouTube. But you really want to try to get those two little notes as part of the C arpeggio. All right, so here, from here, so I'm going 5, 2, 5 very quickly. And then 7, 5, 3. Okay, so you see what I did there? So okay, again, 5, 2, 5, 7, 5, 3, 5, 3, open. Okay, so and if you have to use your little pinky there, like I just did, to grab that note, then do it. It's pretty tricky. So let's try it again. And then you're just back you're you're just back into that lick again, all right? So that's the guitar solo. I'll show you the whole thing one more time from this part. All right, that is the Beatles' Something for you, a great George Harrison classic. I hope you get all those licks and chords down. You'll have a lot of fun playing that one on the mandolin. Thanks very much for tuning in once again to RPM, and don't forget to hit that little subscriber button on the way out, that little red tab, and leave us a like if you like this video. Also, maybe check out our Patreon and Amazon links down below. My name is Mike DeJong. Thanks for watching RPM.